Hey y'all. Hope your day has been absolutely amazing. Regardless of the ups, the downs, the bumps, the unexpected stuff may have been great anyway. I pray that you know how appreciated and loved that you are. Today I want to talk to you about something that happened to me today. I just want to share it because you never know. In a day's time, what is going to happen? Those of you who do follow me, pretty closely, know that I had a terrible motor vehicle accident, vehicle accident, October 15th. So that was, 3 months ago yesterday. So, I'm in physical therapy now because of this. We're still working on my neck, my back, my arm, my elbow, my wrist, hips. Ankle's still not healed. My nose still isn't healed. They said it would stop hurting at 4 weeks. We're at how many now? So many. But anyway, all those things kind of, I was just telling one of the girls at work today, I was just telling her, when they say things like that, it'll be 4 weeks. And even if you bump your nose, it's still going to hurt because there was multiple fractures in there. I busted it up good and it's crooked. But, I told her jokingly, I was like, it's moving back. It's moving back over into place. Can you see it yet? It's going to line back up. It's not going to be crooked. It's not going to be scooted over for the rest of my life like it currently is. But I thank God I still have my nose. But I went through this whole thing in a state of gratitude, but sometimes things take you right back to the place. Like last 2 days ago, I was at physical therapy for my arm, and we're still trying to get it to extend so that it can lay flat again. It won't, and it's a painful process trying to get it to operate correctly and fully. But she, my physical therapist, she had wrapped it in heat again and had me fully extend it down beside me, just let it hang straight basically. And then she'd put a weight in my hand, and we're talking like a 2 or 3 pound weight, tiny weight, but it's a lot when it hurts the muscles, and you can feel it from your wrist, from your fingers all the way up into your shoulder. And that's what we're trying to fix is my bicep, and so many things in between there. And but the way she was handling it and the way that it was just hanging down straight kind of makes me flash back to the accident. And because I sat that way, I moved. I looked for my phone when it first happened, and I couldn't find it. I pulled the cord because it was charging. Well, when I got to the end of it, there was no phone. So there I was. But anyway, from looking at that, and then when I made the phone call in the ambulance, because he said, is there anybody you need to call? And as soon as we got in the ambulance and everything was set, and there was 45 minutes in that car with my arm hanging down because it hurt so bad, because that I knew I was injured, and I just dangled it there, which was probably the worst thing for it. But beside me, because once I moved it, I was like, oh, I ain't doing that again. Didn't move it again until someone else handled it and moved it and kind of got it put in a splint so that they could move me and get me out of the car. But there was 45 minutes there. But today I walked into physical therapy, and I wasn't really paying attention because there's always people in there, but I just didn't expect to know anybody. And I come walking through there and going into the room where I'm going. We're fixing to work on my back and my neck and stuff. And I hear my name, not just my name, my first and last name. And I turned around and looked, and it's my aunt. She was like, oh, and I was like, oh. And of course, instantly, she's like raising up. She's on an exercise bike, and she's like, oh, arms up in the air, and and I'm like, arms extended, best this one can, and we hugged, and it was just so great to see each other, and I hadn't seen her since before the accident and all that, and she was like, oh, your uncle's in there, of course she said my name and everything, but I was like, oh, okay, and we just kind of joked a little, and And then she was like, we got to get together. We got to get the family together. We can't wait any longer. Let's just get together. Let's set a date. Tell your kids, tell your side, and yeah, we'll get together soon. We'll do it. We'll do it in March. And I was like, okay. So I was like, great idea. That's a great idea. This is a pretty good sized family, and I was like, yeah, let's get together. And this is like, I'm talking my dad, his brother, their sister, all their kids, all their grandkids, and it goes all the way down it's a big deal when we all get together. But anyway, we were talking about that, and so then I go on in the room, and then my uncle comes out of the room, and my aunt goes, Karen's in there. He went, who? And she said, Karen. And so he walks in, and I kind of sat up a little, and he just comes right up to me, and then she bops in behind him, and we're having a conversation. And, got on the subject of my accident, and yeah, we're still working on stuff, and they told me this story. Excuse me. They told me this story that one of the first responders knows them that had worked the accident. And for those of you that don't know, I was driving to work. It was dark. It was 5:45 in the morning, and I saw headlights oncoming. And when I got beside the headlights, there were no other lights. There was nothing to indicate at all that this was anything other than just a car. When I got past the headlights, into the darkness back there, I saw live haul chicken cages here and here, right beside me, and like up here and here, which tells me I was already under the trailer. I didn't have time to react. I didn't see it before it was just there, and I hit it full speed at full speed 55. So it was bad. It was a very bad accident, and they said I hit, and then it took my door off immediately and just put it in pieces up underneath the trailer. But the impact then threw me in the Jeep, and put quite a ways away from it back onto the grass. And there's a little field-like thing right there, and I'm out in that. And but the first responder said to them, and it's so crazy that you hear these stories later. I do live in a really small town, but everybody knows everybody, to a point. But they said that they got the call as a recovery, like to go recover, like go get the body. What they said was this Jeep was incredible. So many airbags all through this thing. Really, really well built. But there was one of the curtain airbags right here on this side. They said when they lifted that curtain airbag back to get to me, and it took them back because they had no idea that I was alive. They were dispatched to go get my body out of the wreckage. They had no clue. Like, everybody knew when they got there I would be dead. And my aunt and uncle are just telling me this story and telling me how they just cried when they told them this. And they were like, yeah, we couldn't believe she was moving. We couldn't believe she was aware. We couldn't believe she was alive at all. And I heard them walk out of the room. after talking with me. I heard my uncle say to somebody else out there, the owner of the place, and goes, "That's my niece in there." And the joy and the lift in his voice, the love, and how excited and proud he was to brag on me, and make sure they knew. That's his niece in there. There were like 4 different people that said something about it. "We didn't know you were his niece," and all this, but he was so excited. You know how I do these videos. The morning of it, I sat here in the driveway, and I am just prompted by the Lord, and I say, whatever he has me say. And that morning it was, don't assume anything. If you want to look back through the videos, you go back to that one. That's the morning, October 15th. That's the morning it happened. And it was a good while after that before I was able to post again and do anything and make any videos. But because there was just survival there for a while. But it makes you realize again, and be thankful and grateful. Take nothing for granted. Take no one for granted. I could not be here for the next family get together. And everybody full well knows it. The kids and I were sitting here, my kids are grown, but we were sitting here, and we were talking and planning, and I was not capable of doing things for myself and keeping anything straight and maneuvering and moving myself, and I certainly couldn't drive. And of course I didn't have a vehicle, but I couldn't get myself in a car, to the car, down the porch, nothing. And we were sitting there planning appointments and, who was going to take me, what was going to happen, da, 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 da. And I looked at him, and this was 2 days out, and or it might have been the next day, but I looked at him, I said, "Kids, y'all could be planning something very different here." And it was a very sobering thought, but they were instantly like, "Oh, we know. I could no longer be with them." We get so busy and we take things for granted, and we can't do that. Please don't do that. And even biblically, this verse in James says, James 4, verse 13. I just want to share that with you. "Go to now, ye that say, today or tomorrow we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. Whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away." Life is but a vapor. You're not promised tomorrow. So again, I say to you, yes, there are miracles, but let's not count on them. I wasn't counting on a miracle that morning when I left for work. I didn't know what would happen. I assumed I would make it. I assumed I would make it to work. I didn't, but I did make it. But let's take nothing for granted and no one for granted, okay?